I was scrolling through G-Show the other day looking at random words in kanji as I usually do, and I found something pretty strange. Maybe this is common knowledge, but it really surprised me when I noticed it. You know this radical? It's pretty common. You see it in a lot of words either on the left or the right side, like in kagiri or bu. And one thing that's kind of abnormal about it is that it has two separate dictionary entries, one for the left side and one for the right. Now, originally, I thought this was just to make searching the dictionaries easier, since the radical is pretty common. Instead of having to look through all the results, you would instead get the more useful half of the results by choosing the correct side. But this was not the case. If you actually go onto the two words I mentioned earlier, you will see the radical listed as left and right. However, next to the left and right, it shows the actual radical, the unsimplified original form. One is mound and one is town. Despite these two different meanings, they have somehow become the same radical, in visual appearance at least. And not to mention the completely different form each of them had in their original characters. They weren't terribly different, but it would be a stretch to say they looked the same. What I'm trying to say here is that it's pretty weird that they undertook such a drastic change. From my understanding, this drastic change was due to shorthand writing. I still stand by the fact that they don't really look the same. However, if you really squint your eyes and imagine it really hard, there is a hard left side and a sort of curvy right side. At least, this is the best explanation I've seen. I really haven't found one that immediately made me think, yeah, that's the reason. The one that I used, I'm only like 70% sure that's correct. Anyways, that's the best we're going to get for now. It's not really important though. What is important is that they are still listed separately. They took on these simpler forms far from recently, so that begs the question, why are the original radicals still listed in dictionaries all these years later? If they have been like this for centuries, why list the old parts? Well, they still carry the old semantic meanings, which is pretty clear in some of the kanji they're part of. If you combine the two meanings, while they are vaguely related, that being you could find both of these on a map, it wouldn't really make sense for a word like heights or slope to have the radical for town. Also consider that a lot of the words these are found in, they're the main radical of the word, meaning they are the most important. So when thinking about the ripple effect of combining these two radicals into one, it would be a pretty huge impact. There is also something else like this, which I noticed a while ago but didn't really feel like it warranted its own video. And that is this, the meat radical. If you're wondering why I'm showing the moon radical, that would be because this is not the moon radical. This is the moon radical. What is the difference, you might ask? Well, nothing here. You will not find a difference between these two radicals looking at them in many modern fonts or other modern things. However, you'll see the difference if you look back. Like the other radicals, they didn't always look like this. Well, moon always looked like that, but the meat radical didn't. The meat radical looked like this. Not a huge difference. Definitely not as much of a shock as the other two. But there is a little distinction here. It basically just looks like the full meat radical, just squished. This was lost though again. With people writing over time, it smoothed out, eventually leading to moon and meat looking the same. In contrast to the other radicals that were kept distinct, these are actually the same. Kind of. They're listed the same in most modern dictionaries. For instance, if you click on the moon radical, kanji with the meat radical will also show up. Then, if you go to try to look up a kanji with the meat radical, you'll find that there is no meat radical. It's only the moon radical now. This doesn't mean the meaning is lost though. Kanji that originally had the meat radical are still listed as having the meat radical, not the moon radical. And it still has its semantic component, being in a lot of words relating to the body and, well, flesh and meat basically. I still had the question though, why aren't these being treated equally? Why do both of these get superior treatment, kept separate, especially when moon and meat are much more different than village and mound? The answer I found, which actually makes a lot of sense, is that these radicals can only go on one side. They're distinct when written in kanji. When you have them alone, like I've put them in this whole video, it sounds stupid to keep them separate. They're basically the same after all. Then, when I add the rest of the kanjis in, yeah, they definitely look pretty different right now. You could with 100% certainty choose which is which, because of the hard rule of left and right. You will never find the village radical suddenly appearing on the other side. Moon and meat can go anywhere though. Up, down, left, right, it doesn't matter to the radical. If say moon was only on the top and meat was only on the bottom, then it would make sense to have them differentiated. But when they look exactly the same and can go in the same places, someone is going to go into their dictionary and basically have to flip a coin for which one to look up. But if you are looking up a kanji in the dictionary, you might not know the meaning, and therefore it would literally be a coin flip. You better hope you guess right or you're gonna have to go through double as many kanji. There's also a term for this, which I thought is pretty funny.
肉好き
In isolation, it just sounds like meat moon, which puts a pretty weird image into my head. Gladly though, that's not what it's describing. Seeing how these words became the same though, I was thinking about how long it would be before other radicals started molding into one. River and curved river, for example. The other ones have pretty drastic semantic differences, which river and curved river do not have. At least not on the surface level. There's also apparently a river radical with 2 strokes for a smaller river, but that one is gone now to my knowledge. Like gone. I tried looking for kanji using it and I literally could not find a modern example of one. Anyways, that's all though. I just thought this was a really cool concept, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Like I said, it's kind of different from what I normally talk about. This is like the first time I haven't brought up the characters being simplified on purpose. So the fact that they naturally, or at least somewhat naturally, arrived at these forms is pretty impressive. I like seeing the natural evolution of the kanji just as much as the non-natural ones. But yeah, thanks for watching, like, subscribe, bye bye.